Hey everyone, it's Brandy and you're watching AbstractCrafter. Today we are doing a post review. I don't know, should I keep calling them post reviews or should I just call them reviews? For those of you that are super new and may have never seen my very first video, I created the term post review. It was something that I came up with because there wasn't a whole lot of channels and videos out at the time, and a lot of them were just unboxings and what I like to call first impressions, because I feel you can't do a proper review until it's completed. You can't really review something that you haven't worked on or worked with. So, but people were calling them unboxings and reviews, and so I wanted to differentiate the finished product review, so I called it a post review. Post meaning literally after. So, I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to actually insert a poll up there, so go ahead and answer that, or let me know down in the comments. Should I continue to call them post reviews, or should we just call them reviews? I'm really curious. And one thing I want to do while we're talking about this is I'm going to roll it because it'll be something that we talk about, but you'll probably hear maybe some popping. Well, let's see. Let me be quiet for a minute. Nope, I might have got them all yesterday. So I did pop them all in yesterday. I wanted to make sure because there was a lot. It's very, very tight. And one thing that I haven't been doing when I'm doing post reviews that I've been forgetting to do is to take you down and get up close to the canvas with you. That's something that I did very early on with the canvases as a part of my post reviews, and that's something that I haven't really been doing too much of. I mean, I guess I could zoom in too. So let's put my... And for anybody that's curious, I did find this rolling pin at the dollar store, Dollar Tree, I think it is, the one that where everything's $1 for $1. So if you're looking for one of these, or in Canada, I guess it'd be $1.25. It was under the Betty Crocker stuff. So why don't we get into this? I'm gonna, I mean, you can see what this canvas is. I'm gonna bring it up here. There is our picture. I'm also gonna insert one right here. So you have an idea of what we're dealing with. I'm gonna start out by saying that ultimately I am happy. I think it looks beautiful. The colors they do a really good job of blending, you know, like telling a color story is what I like to say. I think before we dig into a lot of the checklists that I have here, again, I named it Colorful Butterfly. This is from Huacan. I ordered it from Huacan. It is 35 colors, 40 by 30. And the measurements were 29 by 39, so it was just a centimeter off, which is no big deal to me. It's close. At least we know that they are going by the picture size and not the entire canvas, which really doesn't bother me either way. I just like to know for framing, and my framing size ended up coming to 15.5 by 12. This was a full square. I paid $9.52 at the time. I ordered this all the way back in June. The 26th of June, they shipped it out 3 days later on June 29th, and it arrived to me on July 17th. So overall, really quick. It got to me pretty quick. As far as, let's see, let's go down my list here so it's easy. You do know, if you remember from my drill with me at the Vice, that'll be linked up in the corner as well. I did have to replace these white ones, and I'm really not... I think if there's anything with that, that's what I'm not really liking, because as you can see here, there's a lot of gapping, and they don't fit as tightly as, say, like right down in here, when you come to the original corner, with the exception of that big gap that's right in the middle. But, I mean, you can see that they fit really nice and tight, and there's not a lot of room. I did have a little bit of pinching and buckling like right in there. But once I was able to roll them in, it was fine. I haven't had any issues. It's been hanging up for about a day. So they did not pop up and buckle out. So I was very happy with that. I think I got this right on that cusp of when they started having a lot of issues. And I got a little bit lucky, with the exception of one color. So the color that I replaced, this white, that was originally, if we come over here and check, $37.56. And they had little tabs on them. Let me see if I still have those. Let me pause you. Okay, I did find them. I did keep them because I can't use them in diamond painting, I still have other ideas for them where the little tabs won't matter. And there's just so many of them that digging through them to find quote-unquote good ones was a little bit hard. And if you're seeing these little half circles on my nails, I'm experimenting with a couple of... This one got smushed as I was setting up, and it smeared everywhere. So ignore this one. But I found my beads, my nail charms, and I was experimenting, and I just didn't get this one finished. He will be a little pumpkin when I'm done. So I just wanted to try a couple different techniques with my nails to see what I liked. So if you're seeing that, that's what that is. Not that it has any bearing on this, but I would be curious. So as you can see, this is a really nice color. I love this color. And I only had this many in reserve, and even this one, it probably won't show on camera, but it's a little bit different. Not by much, but obviously that's nothing compared to this. And I'm trying to find one to show you as an example, because it was a very small amount, and there's a couple right here. Let's see. Focus on it. I'm trying to... Okay, well, you can see this one right here. It's just got the smallest little tab sticking off of it, and it's just so bright. There we go. And you can even see this one down by my thumb here, and I've come across that issue before, and it's never been a problem. But because this painting, and let's turn that off, is so tight, this was creating problems and literally popping them right out. When I went to go order replacements, because I didn't contact Huacan, I did this one very late after I got it. Obviously, I got this way back in the beginning of July. It is now mid-October. And so I started on it. I kind of hesitated, and I am a master procrastinator, let me tell you. And so I master procrastinated my way right out of the... and I didn't want to bother her at that point. It was, to me, I had kind of lost my trust, and I didn't want to ask Huacan for replacements because I didn't trust that they would give me good ones, I guess. And I didn't want to wait, even though wouldn't have mattered because I ended up waiting forever to do the dang thing. So I guess I would have been just fine waiting. Ultimately, it didn't cost me that much. I paid under $10 to replace all of these, and for a $10 canvas, it still kept the price under $20, and I'm okay with that. At the time, I did have the extra money, and so I know it says $5,200. I ordered the color Blanc because it looked like an off-white to me, since nobody on Etsy had this 3756s. I had to choose a different color. I could have waited. I could have been more patient, but at that point I didn't want to. That's just me. That's how I am. And so you can see the difference in the two colors is pretty big. And I think had I been patient and waited for this, that the blending here might not be so in your face and so bright. Ultimately, I don't care about that. I still like it. The one thing, though, that I don't like about the picture itself, which is not going to have any bearing on the score, and we'll continue on with that since we are still talking about a half and half about the canvas and about the drills. The canvas itself, let's see if you can pick up on this. So if you look up here, this corner, it's just shy of hitting up there, but then you come over here and it's off the page, and you have this huge gap like over here, whereas you don't have that gap here. So from an OCD standpoint, that bothers me immensely. Like, to the point where I just want to cut this dang butterfly out and just forgo the whole background. The other thing that bothers me about the background is I really love how it turned out down here. The mixture of colors to make it look like there's a nice shadowing. It's very subtle in this picture. And let's see if I can... But you can see it down in here where it just looks a little, almost like dirty. But it's just a little bit darker. Kind of like that setting if you upload pictures onto Instagram. It's called a vignette. However you say that, you know what I'm talking about. Essentially bringing a shadow in on the picture and highlighting the center. And to me, that's what I thought that was going to turn out to be like, if not fully white like this. So, as you can tell on this side, there's none of that. There's just like 3 little ones in there. Whereas over here, you get a lot of mixture. Oop, and then I'm shaking you. A lot of mixture in the color, essentially creating a shadow, especially from further away than where we're at now. For that, it's not going to affect the score for me. That's a personal preference. Like I said, I still love the picture. I do, like I said, I love how they used the colors to, the color story works out nicely for me. I like how the pinks fade in like this and the blues. I mean, it's obvious. And for being just a 40 by 30, you can see the details even from the distance that we're at. This camera's sitting just below my chin, so the length of my torso away, the camera to this, and it still looks pretty good. A little tiny, maybe fuzzy looking, but, I mean, considering the thin line right there that they had to come up with, I think that turned out really good. I do like it. I love butterflies, obviously. I was picturing the color story very similar to this, with the exception of, it's not teal or purple, and was yellow in this tattoo, and there's not in this one, but I'm okay with that. I don't like this color right in here, but again, that's just personal preference. I think it does fine. So, as far as the actual canvas itself, if I flip it over, you can see that there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely flat and straight. And even this, there's a little bit of wrinkling there. But if I were to grab my wedding photo, and I will do that in just a second, it's not as bad on the bottom here where it doesn't pinch or buckle. And I'm noticing it a lot. And so let me grab that so I can show you what I'm talking about. Now, my wedding canvas was completely flat. And as you can see now, that's, luckily, normally when you see that, that means that the canvas pinched, but the adhesive pinched with it. But that was from putting the border on it. And just to show you, no, and this is not a review of my wedding picture, it's just, so you can see right there how it created that divot. I'm going to have to remove all the tape in order to relieve the tension, because what the tape does is flattens it, forces it flat. But what I'm thinking is happening is that they're doing these when they're hot. The image is hot, the ink is hot when it goes on, at least most printing presses are. If you didn't know, I used to be an operator on a printing press for a very well-known, big-name card company, and the ink is hot. It gets hot. Very hot on some machines, depending on the machine and the project. And so I think they're not giving it enough time to cool before they're putting this adhesive cover on it. And that is what's causing all kinds of canvas issues like this. So once I take the tape off, it'll relieve that pressure. And what I'll do instead is I'll just leave this Huacan paper. I'll just cut a strip of it to cover that overhang. So that was just to show you guys that this canvas it had very little of that. There was no wrinkles. There was the glue itself, the tape itself, the adhesive was nothing wrong with it. There was no pinches, no buckling, no bubbles, nothing. It was about as perfect as a canvas as you can ask for. I mean, it was to the point where if you were to hold this like this into the light, like sideways like that, you would get a nice gloss all the way across it. You almost didn't want to put diamonds on it because you didn't want to ruin the perfectness of it. At least I didn't. And so the canvas was beautiful. One issue I did have with the symbols was up in this corner and a little bit in this corner, but this corner especially, I couldn't make out a lot of the symbols. They were very blurry. It was almost like it kind of like shifted really quick or got pulled at the end, where like maybe that was the end of the printing process and it got jolted just a little bit to be pulled out. But the rest of it was so clear. It's one of the clearest canvases I've worked on. And I think that's what makes me really sad that Huacan is having so many issues right now for so many people, because if they could all be like this, with the exception of these beads, this would have probably just gotten a full 10, but it didn't, and we'll get into that. Just stay with me, guys. This is my first time actually using my little sheet here to follow along with doing a poster view on, and so I'm trying to follow along and I'm jumping all over. And then, so as far as garbage goes, and the reason I use this as something to show you guys as something slightly important is because it gives you a clue into how much of that 30% overage you actually keep, or if you're going to be digging through, because I like to just get on a roll. You know, I don't like to have to dump beads into a tray and then dig out half of it as garbage. That irritates me to no end. And I don't want to use my nail to dig around in there, so we'll take their very own tweezers and let's get a nice close-up here. So as you can see, there's a lot of like concave, a lot of bubbles, not really a whole lot of these like plastic bits like what you're seeing right here. Do I even want to? Okay, well, let's not tempt fate, shall we? Mostly bubbles like this green guy there. Concave ones were big in this one, and oops, I can hear them dropping. And this one I thought was really kind of just neat. It was a neat little find. And there was one other color that had the issue. But look at this. I've never found one on a plate like this before. Look at that. I saw them two in the tray, and I went to pull them out, and I got this whole thing. I mean, how cool is that? So that kind of gives you a glimpse into how our diamonds are made. And then obviously this mold was overfilled, so it's actually filled in like this, and so it overflowed on the top, and so because it was overfull, it just stuck together, and the holes are obviously from air bubbles that got caught into the resin when it was poured into the molds. And then the other issue, which I only had this one other time, and I don't know how easily I'll be able to find it in here, and it actually kind of, it's even grosser to me than the ones that have 5 million holes in them, where it looks like a bug just burrowed in and out. Okay, here we go. This color here. I don't remember offhand what color this is. And I had actually put a couple aside. But you see, they're stuck together, but not only are they stuck together, if I were to try to pry those apart, yeah, they would actually become stringy and soft and almost wet. It was like wet paint. And I had a whole bunch of them sitting off to the side to show you guys, and one clue that there was something very wrong with them, like maybe they had put powder into the molds to help them come out better, and of course I'm not going to find it because, you know, I'm filming now, and I had at one point oh, here we go, I did find it. I had these all separated, and I didn't even think about it, so let's see if we'll get that to focus in. So you can see what looks very minimally, and this is a tame one, like a white substance on there, a bit of a growth, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean, you can barely see it. It's really hard to make out, but and that's because this isn't even the worst of them. Some of them were so bad, the whole bottom was white, and it was just covered in this weird substance. And I mean, they're tilting it. It almost looks like a white mold of sorts. And not the mold that they sit in, like a fuzzy mold that you'd see on bread or food. And like I said, they were really gooey, almost wet when I tried to, they were all like bunched together and I tried to take them apart. So that was a little bit of a disturbing issue to deal with, but there wasn't a whole lot like that. I mean, all the bottoms were really bad, but they adhered to the canvas just fine, so ultimately it didn't matter. It was just to kind of give you an idea of some of the issues that they face with drills. And that was the first time I had ran into such a problem like that. I have since seen it again, but not to the extent that I've seen it with these drills. And yeah, like I said, I'm not going to find any more of them. And see, with this one now, you can almost see that problem. See, I gotta focus on it. Give me a second here. You can see the texture of it. I mean, obviously this is the top side of this one, and that's the bottom side, but it's really bumpy. And you can see, like I said, you can see the texture of it. And I'm so sorry, this is just such a bad... They're so small, and it's so hard to show you things on these. But yeah, it's got a texture. You can kind of see where the light's bouncing off of it. And that it had time to harden, but at the time, it wasn't. It was just gooey. And like I said, it was like a wet feeling. And I've said that a few times now. So let's move past that, Brandy. So ultimately, the condition of the drills was, I'd say, half and half. And now I'm going to show you what I do with all these guys. I ran out of 2 colors. I ran out of... Let's see, it was a green color. Oh, 3768. I ran out of that one. I had a huge bag of it in reserve and leftover. And I think I was probably right around about 50 shy of completing. So it wasn't a whole lot that I was short. And then I ran out of another color too. It was one of the blue colors. And that was mostly just due to how much garbage it was. So I didn't write it down. I didn't think it was important, the actual color, but nonetheless, I did run out of 2 colors, and it was 100% due to how much garbage they had. Some of them had no garbage. Some beads were 100% all good, and then there were others that it was like every time I dump a tray full in, I was picking out at least half of them from, and not just little pinholes either. Like, if I feel like I'm going to be short on a color and I don't think I have any in reserve, I will use the little tiny pinholes that you can barely see. And in fact, there are a few in here in which I couldn't pull out afterwards and replace because there was nothing left to replace them with. So overall, yeah, there was... To me, it was, for the size of this painting, that was a lot. That was probably one of the biggest trays of garbage that I've ever had after a painting was complete. And considering I've had a lot of bad paintings, that's saying something. And how tiny this picture is. For 40 by 30, I would expect to still be able to see the bottom of this tray as far as garbage goes. I've had bigger paintings with half as much garbage, so ultimately it's not a deterrent. It just kind of takes a little bit of the joy out of the entire diamond painting process, because you have to spend so much time stopping and picking out the drills. And I'm sorry, I should not have transferred that into that bucket on top of my diamond painting, because now all those little tiny like plastic bits are static clinging onto my picture. I just want to get them off while we're talking, so hopefully the noise isn't bothersome. So let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Oh, as far as leftovers go, when they say they give you the 30% extra, I would say that I could agree with that. I just grabbed 2 bags as an example, this 3727 and 777, which are also very unique colors to my collection, so I was very happy. But, that's about what I would expect. So like 777... I only needed 179, and that's probably about half of them right there. 3727, I needed 408, and that looks to me to be about 50 extra, so that's good. You know, I don't recall those ones being particularly troublesome. So, and I do apologize. You've probably heard my heater kick in and out, but it's that time of year, guys. I live in the Northland, so it's getting cold. It's not quite cold enough to turn the heat on for the whole house. We're not at that stage yet. But my room does get a little chilly. I keep a window open because I smoke by the window, and I don't want the smoke traveling. So, experience, let's see. My overall experience working on the canvas, I say it was pretty good. You know, I got a really good drill with me out of it. I felt like that was a very successful drill with me, one of my more successful ones. Did it bring you joy, or was it stressful? I'd say in the beginning it was very stressful when those beads continually popped off. Once I got the new ones in and started trucking along, it was a little stressful in the sense that this was the most confetti-laden picture I had ever seen. The biggest grouping of numbers that you see are about right in here and up here. I mean, and sometimes I like that, but not when it's so bad. Like every single, like if I can give you a nice close-up right here, you can see how many different colors go in to making this picture. There's 35 colors overall. And so I broke this into 6 parts. And in each one of those 6 parts, every single color was used. So, it keeps it interesting. Had I had the workspace available, I would have just had a bunch of trays out and had just a few of each number put in there. So it wouldn't have been... but otherwise, I really liked it. It was fun to continue working on it. It was fun to see the progress being made. It was fun to see this butterfly emerge. And it was nice because I can see it up close, and it looks even better when I take a step back and look at it from a distance. So, yeah, I'd say that, yes, it did bring me a little bit of joy. The store, I did not need to communicate with them. I should have, and just let her know about the issues I was having with the 3756, but I didn't. So there's nothing I can do about that now. I'm sure she would have taken care of it. She's always been good to not only me, but other people. Like my wedding one, I needed replacements on 3/10, and I already got those. Overall, I do know that they are very good at, for the most part. Now, there's always exceptions. They were pretty good. So why don't we get in and figure out a score for this? I can't give it I don't have a score for it for the unboxing. I can go back and watch that, but it would, then I have to pause you and go watch it. We're just going to do the score for the post review. And so when we look at how we break this down, 3 points for the overall look of the finished canvas. And I think you guys can agree, with the exception of these drills up here, it looks beautiful. Once I get this in a frame, it's really going to look nice. So I would keep the 3 points in that. I think it looks beautiful. For the bead quality, I'm probably going to take a point off because I did have to order replacements for this one. They were popping off. It's very tight, and there's many times where I had to go back in and continue to put them back in. There was a lot of garbage. So I'm going to take a point off for that. The fun factor, I'm only going to give that 1.2 because of the amount of confetti and because of all the stress that I went through in the beginning with the drills not staying on the canvas. So we're going to give them 1 point for that. So we're at 3, 4, 5. The canvas condition was excellent. So full point there. Symbol clarity, I'm only going to give that a half a point. And communication, they get the point because I didn't need to communicate with them. And so we're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 out of 10. For me, a store would need an 8.5 and above for me to consider it a recommend. Alright guys, so I did go back and watch the unboxing to see what score I would have given. Look at that glare on there. Do something about that, my god. Ugh. So I would have given this a 10 out of 10. And so I will readjust the score to, instead of a 7.5, it will actually end up being an 8.75 out of 10. So I may say 7.5 again, but that was because I didn't do the math. That was yesterday, Brandy. You can't blame her for not doing her research. But what I will say about shopping from there and buying from there is still how I feel. I still think that, you'll hear it. I'm not going to change my mind on that. I'm only inserting this clip to let you know that I wanted to be as fair as possible, and I went back and watched, and I would have given this a 10 out of 10, hands down. I mean, I can see how pristine that canvas is just watching, and I don't know why I don't say something about that. I just wanted to let you guys know that, because I developed this system to be as fair as possible, and the unboxing does matter. That's why there's 2 scores. It's like 8.75 is what it broke down to when I did the math. That's a good score. I would buy. It needed to be 8.5, 8.5 in order for me to buy from the store again, and it does, but you'll hear my reasons and when I plan on buying, actually. And who's this? Oh, just keep sticking with Christine. Looks like I'm watching that next. The DIY moon shop. But alright guys, get back into the video. You got a lot of good stuff to tell ya. And with all the issues that Huacan is having right now, I'm gonna say that I can't recommend them at this moment. I'm gonna say give it some time. Let them get caught up, let them work through their quality control issues, because had just a couple things went different for this canvas, this would have easily been a 10 out of 10. If you disagree, that I would like to hear kindly and peacefully why you would disagree, and if you would have gave the points and bumped it up to an 8.5. With that being said though, the 7.5 is not a deal breaker. I'm gonna also give them some time. I'm gonna see what happens after I work on my wedding picture, my custom, and I have placed an order with each of their sister companies, AZQSD and Evershine. I want to see how those turn out. Those should be coming soon. They are at least out of China, so whenever they get here, you'll see that. So I want to see how those two do, and I do plan on ordering from them after Christmas and just seeing what happens. That's all we can really do. I have carefully watching other reviews, and it just seems like it's problem after problem, mainly with the canvases. I haven't heard much on drills at this point, because nobody's been able to complete them because they have so many issues. Whether it be the bead's too big, the canvas has too many issues. So I am watching reviews very carefully right now and just kind of waiting. And I'm going to try them again after Christmas in January, and we'll see what happens. Unless for some reason my custom wedding picture goes horribly, horribly wrong, then we'll evaluate it then. But right now, I'm not saying don't buy or buyer beware. I'm saying give them time, hold off, and maybe revisit it in the future. Let me know your experiences down below. Let me know what you think. Do you like the butterfly? Would you order it regardless of all the issues that are happening right now? I am very curious to see where everybody's thoughts are. Let's do this in a peaceful way, though. I don't want to have to delete comments. Every time I do a Huacan video, I have to delete comments because there's those few diehard fans that will not allow other people to have their own opinion about their favorite company. And if it happens in this video, then you're just going to be blocked. Everybody has the right to their own opinion, including you. If you can talk to me about this in a peaceful way, I don't care if you disagree with me or not, as long as it's done in an adult and grown up and peaceful, kind way. That's all I ask. This is a positive space, not a negative place. Let's have a civilized conversation about this down below. I do have a few videos coming up. I'm going to try to catch up on filming in the next couple of days and get some videos pumped out. I got a framing video coming, drill with me coming. We got my craft series. We're going to be building the box theater. And I'm going to, in the drill with me that's coming up, make sure you stay tuned, because I want to put in the poll to see what craft video you want me to do next. And also, if you want your diamond paintings featured in my next drill with me, just either send them to my email. My email is linked down below. It's also abstractcrafter@gmail.com. And I know before I had said something about using a hashtag. Just forget all that. That might be a tad bit too confusing. Just either email them to me or join my group on Facebook and submit them there, and just let me know that you would like to see your diamond paintings featured in my next drill with me. I want to try to choose anywhere between 3 and 5. So make sure you check into that. And with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day, friends. Oh, and by the way, have an awesome day, friends. I was just watching one of my old favorite YouTubers, The Sim Supply, and he says that in his videos. I kind of thought it sounded familiar. So thanks, James, for subconsciously putting that into my head. Yes. Have an awesome day, friends. Have fun diamond painting. Have fun crafting. Have fun doing whatever it is that makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.